Today, we are going to start a new journey. In this journey, we will explore the exciting world of psychology, i.e. psychology. Have you ever wondered how our thoughts work? Why are we happy, sad, or angry? What causes behind our behavior? We are starting this episode to find answers to all these questions. In this episode, we will cover many important topics of psychology. First, in the introduction to psychology, we will know what psychology is, what is its history, and how important it is in our life. Then, in the biological foundation, we will try to understand how our brain and nervous systems work. We will see how people develop from childhood to old age. In cognitive psychology, we will understand the processes of memory, learning, and decision-making. In social psychology, we will learn how society affects our thoughts and behavior. At the personality theory, we will try to understand the different personality principles and also know our personality. Finally, in applied psychology, we will see how psychology can be used in daily life, such as in stress management, time management, and communication skills. I will try to explain every topic in a simple language so that you easily understand things. Let us move together into this beautiful world of psychology. This journey will be neither hard nor boring, but we will learn a lot in fun. Are you ready? Let's start. Psychology is a scientific study that tries to understand our minds and behavior. When you say in easy words, psychology looks at how we think, feel, and how we work. But not only that, it also makes sense to our social interactions, emotions, motivations, and even mental health. Now the question is how psychology is different from other subjects such as sociology or psychotherapy. Watch, the focus of psychology occurs on individual minds and behavior, while sociology sees social structures and groups. Psychotherapy is a medical field that diagnoses and treats mental health disorders. So psychology is different from both of these as it studies mind and behavior from a scientific approach, without providing direct treatment. Its scope is huge, from cognitive processes to social interaction, from personality development to emotional relationships. Talk about the history of psychology. Everything started from the philosophy. Philosophicals such as René Descartes and John Locke laid the foundation of this area, keeping their view on mind and behavior. Descartes proposed mind-body dualism, which says the mind and body are different entities. Locke conceded the tabula rasa, i.e. we are an empty slate at the time of birth and our experiences shape our thinking. Psychology was established in the 19th century as a separate science. Wilhelm Wundt established the first psychological laboratory in 1879. Often seen as the birth of psychology. Edward Titchener developed structuralism, focusing on the basic elements of thoughts and emotions. After that, functionalism came, which William James promoted. In functionalism, it was noted that what is the work of the mind and how it adapts with the environment. The advent of behavioralism in the 20th century, which John B. Watson and B.F. Skinner promoted. Only those behaviors in behavioralism are studied that can be seen directly, and not internal mental states. This approach became very popular, especially in the US. Skinner developed the operant conditioning, in which behavior was shaped using reinforcement and penalties. Then psychoanalysis came, which was developed by Sigmund Freud. Psychoanalysis focuses on unconscious minds and early childhood experiences. Freud's principles revolutionized mental health treatment. Humanistic psychology also evolved over the same period, promoted by Carl Rogers and Abraham Maslow. Humanistic psychology focuses on personal development, self-realization, and personal capacity. Abraham Maslow proposed the pyramid of the requirements. In today's time, there are many schools of ideology, such as cognitive psychology, biological psychology, socio-cultural psychology, and much more. Now we understand the key perspectives of psychology that try to understand the mind and behavior from different angles. Every approach has its own unique focus. Only those behaviors in a behavioral approach are observed that can be seen directly. This approach focuses more on the impact of the environment, such as reinforcement and penalties. Pavlov used classical contractions with dogs, which revealed that behavior can change through contraction. The cognitive approach focuses on how we think, remember, and how to process language. This approach studies internal mental states like thoughts, memories, and problem solving. Oiknisar promoted cognitive psychology, explaining the brain's information processing mechanism. Studies of brain structures, neurons, and neurotransmitters are carried out in biological approaches. This approach tries to understand the role of genetics and nervous biology. The humanistic approach focuses on the ability and personal development of the individual. This approach highlights the positive aspects of human nature, such as self-esteem and creativity. The impact of society and culture is studied in socio-cultural approaches, such as norms, values, and social contacts. This approach tries to understand how our cultural background shapes our behavior. the study of unconscious minds, internal conflicts, and childhood experiences in the psychosomatic approach is carried out. This approach attempts to understand personality development and mental disorders. The importance of studying psychology is very high. First, psychology plays a very important role in our daily life. To improve interpersonal relationships is a common goal of our life. The principles of psychology such as empathy, active listening, and struggle solutions help strengthen our relationships. We find better connects with them when we understand the feelings and thoughts of others. Improving communication skills is also an important aspect of psychology. From effective communication, we can express our thoughts and feelings, whether it is personal or professional. Active listening techniques such as interpretation and reflection enhance our communication. Understanding and managing emotions is also possible with psychology. Emotional regulation techniques such as mindfulness and cognitive restructuring help handle our negative emotions. Psychology is very useful not only for personal development, but also in professional fields. The principles of psychology are used in areas such as education, healthcare, business, sports, and law. Teachers in the field of education develop effective learning strategies using the principles of psychology. Healthcare professionals in the field of healthcare can understand the mental state of patients. Psychology in the business world is used to understand leadership, management, team dynamics, and consumer behavior. Sports psychology in the field of sports helps athletes develop mental strength. Laws in the field of law evaluate the reliability of witnesses using professional psychology. The effect of psychology is too deep on personal development. Through self-awareness and personal development, we can improve ourselves by understanding our strengths and weaknesses. By self-consciousness, we understand our emotions, thoughts, and behaviors better. This understanding enhances our decision-making process and promotes personal development. When we understand ourselves, we can set our goals and develop effective strategies to achieve them. Now talk about research methods in psychology. It is important to understand because we will learn how psychological studies are carried out and how their findings are interpreted. Scientific methodology is a systematic approach used to conduct scientific research. It has several steps. The first is the hypothesis construction, the second is the experiment, the third is the observation, the fourth is the conclusion. The scientific method has a very important role of replication. Replication means that other researchers revise the same study to confirm the early findings. Peer review is also an important step in which experts evaluate the research to ensure that the study is scientifically correct and has no methodological defects. The key perspective of neuroscience studies of brain structures, neurons, and neurotransmitters are carried out in the biological perspective. This approach tries to understand the role of genetics and nervous biology. The case of the Phineas gauge shows how important role the frontal lobe plays in the brain work and personality. The humanistic perspective focuses on the ability and personal development of the individual. This approach highlights the positive aspects of human nature, such as self-esteem and creativity. Abraham Maslow studied self-realization individuals such as Albert Einstein and Roosevelt. He saw that these people were successful in achieving their highest potential, reflecting their personal development and fulfillment. This study shows the importance of humanitarian perspective. The impact of society and culture is studied in the socio-cultural perspective, such as norms, values, and social contacts. This approach tries to understand how our cultural background shapes our behavior. Gerard Hofstede compared different cultures and defined their behavioral dimensions, such as individualism vs collectivism. His research highlighted how large the influence of culture is in individual and professional settings. The study of unconscious minds, internal conflicts, and childhood experiences in the psychosomatic perspective is carried out. This approach attempts to understand personality development and mental disorders. Sigmund Freud studied the case of Anna O, who suffered from hysteria. This analysis highlighted the concept of unconscious struggle and suppression, which are in the origin of the psychosomatic principle. Freud showed through Anna O how unconscious objectives and past experiences affect our current behavior. So these were the key perspectives of psychology, who try to understand our mind and behavior from different angles. Every single perspective has given its unique contributions, which shape today's modern psychology. Importance of neuroscience. Psychology plays a very important role in our daily life. To improve interpersonal relationships is a common goal of our life. The principles of psychology such as empathy, active listening, and struggle solutions help strengthen our relationships. We find better connects with them when we understand the feelings and thoughts of others. For example, if you react by understanding the feelings of your partner, misunderstandings are less and harmoniously grow in the relationship. Improving communication skills is also an important aspect of psychology. From effective communication, we can express our thoughts and feelings, whether it is personal or professional. Active listening techniques such as interpretation and reflection enhance our communication, thereby reducing misconceptions and increasing mutual understanding. Understanding and managing emotions is also possible with psychology. Emotional regulation techniques such as mindfulness and cognitive restructuring help handle our negative emotions. When we understand our emotions, we can manage them better, which is quite essential for mental well-being. As if you're feeling stress, mindfulness practice can help you stay calm and focused. Psychology is very useful not only for personal development, but also in professional fields. The principles of psychology are used in areas such as education, healthcare, business, sports, and law. Teachers in the field of education develop effective learning strategies using the principles of psychology that improve students' learning results. By understanding the different learning styles and motivational techniques, teachers find better support to their students. Healthcare professionals in the field of healthcare can understand the mental state of patients. Psychology in the business world is used to understand leadership, management, team dynamics, and consumer behavior. Improves the performance of business in effective leadership and team cooperation. Biological base. The nervous system of behavior. The nervous system is the core of your body, which controls your thoughts, emotions, and actions. In this section, we will try to understand the structure and function of neurons, the central and peripheral parts of nerve communication and nervous system in detail. The first thing of neurons, which are the basic construction segments of the nervous system. Neurons are special cells that receive, process, and transmit information. The basic elements of a neuron include several parts: dendrites, axon, myelin sheath, and synapse. Dendrites are branches that originate from the cell body of neuron to another neurons or sensory receptors. Axon is a long projection of neurons that moves electrical signals from a neuron to another neuron. Myelin sheath is an insulating layer that covers the axon and makes the signal transmission fast and efficient. Synapses are junctions where a neuron's axon meets the dendrite or cell body of another neuron. Now talk of nervous communication, which is the process of information exchange between neurons. It consists of two main components: action potent and neurotransmission. Action potential is an electrical impulse that travels through acute changes in the membrane capacity of neuron. The action in the neurotransmission reaches the terminal button of the potential axon, where neurotransmitters are released. These chemicals transmit the mortgage signal from the receptors of the second neuron across the synaptic crack. Example of a real life of multiple sclerosis, MS. MS is an autoimmune disease in which the immune system accidentally attacks the myelin sheath. Damage to the myelin sheath slows down and disabling nerve communication, which causes various neurological symptoms such as muscle weakness, coordination problems, and cognitive loss. Central and peripheral nervous system. The nervous system is divided into two main parts: central nervous system (CNS) and peripheral nervous system (PNS). Both parts together regulate body functions and affect behavior. The central nervous system (CNS) includes the brain and spinal cord, the control center of the brain nervous system, which processes sensory information and generates motor commands. The spinal signals move from the brain to various parts of the body and vice versa. The structure of the brain acts very complex. For example, cerebrum is responsible for making high cognitive functions such as thinking, memory, and decision. Cerebellum maintains coordination and balance, while brainstem controls vital functions such as breathing and heart rate. The spine connects signals to the brain and facilitates reversible actions. Reversible actions are automatic responses that are executed on sudden excitation, without brain participation, such as hands immediately deteriorate when touching a hot thing. The peripheral nervous system (PNS) includes the somatic and autonomous nervous system. The somatic nervous system handles voluntary activities and sensory information, such as controlling muscles or feeling external stimuli. Autonomous nervous system regulates involuntary functions, such as heart rate, digestive, and respiratory. The somatic nervous system includes motor neurons that send signals to the skeletal muscles, and sensory neurons get information from the external environment. This system facilitates our conscious actions such as walking, typing, or speaking. Autonomous nervous system is divided into two divisions: empathetic and paranoid. The sympathetic nervous system triggers the root or run responses, which increases the level of alertness and energy in stressful situations. Parasympathetic nervous system promotes rest and digestive reactions, which supports relaxation and recovery. The sympathetic nervous system releases hormones such as adrenaline and norepinephrine, which increase heart rate, stretch the convex, and raise energy. This reaction prepares the body for immediate action. The paranormal nervous system releases acetylcholine, which reduces heart rate, promotes digestion, and relaxes the body. Muscle structure and function. Our brain is very complex, divided into several areas, and each has its own specific function. Hindbrain push brain is made of medulla, pons, and cerebellum. This is an important part of the brain that regulates the basic life-threatening actions. Medulla controls autonomous functions such as breathing, heart rate, and blood pressure. The pons is located above the medulla and it regulates sleep and wake cycles. Cerebellum helps to coordinate and maintain balance. Midbrain in medicine. Brain includes atrial formation, which regulates vigilance and consciousness. It manages brain sleep-conscious cycles and filters sensory information. Forebrain is the largest and most complex part of the brain. It includes thalamus, hypothalamus, limbic system, and cerebral cortex. The thalamus sensory works to process information and deliver it to the cerebral cortex. Hypothalamus regulates autonomous nervous system and endocrine system. The limbic system regulates emotions, memories, and motivations. Cerebral cortex handles high-level cognitive functions such as thinking, logic, decision-making, and language processing. Cerebral cortex is the outer layer of the brain that is divided into different lobes, and each lobe has its own specific function. Frontal lobe handles high cognitive functions such as decision-making, planning, problem-solving, and voluntary activities. The parental lobe processes sensory information such as touch, temperature, pain, and body condition awareness. Temporal lobe processes primary auditory information, such as sound and speech. It is also important to understand the lobe language, such as the area of the Broca and the area of the Wernicke, which are responsible for language production and understanding. Occipital lobe processes visual information. When you see something, this information is processed in occipital lobe, which helps you identify and interpret images. Neurotransmitters and their roles. Now we talk about neurotransmitters, which are chemical messengers necessary for the communication of the nervous system. Neurotransmitters transmit signals between neurons, affecting our thoughts, emotions, and actions. Some important neurotransmitters are dopamine, serotonin, acetylcholine, GABA, and glutamate. Dopamine is an important neurotransmitter that regulates the spirit of inspiration, reward, and pleasure. When you achieve something, like determining a goal or learning a new skill, dopamine is released, which inspires you to do more. Serotonin plays a huge role in mood regulation. It helps you feel calm and satisfied. Acetylcholine plays an important role in muscle contraction and memory building. GABA-gamma-aminobutyric acid is an inhibitory neurotransmitter that reduces nervous activity. It helps to reduce anxiety and stress and regulates overall brain activity. Glutamate is a stimulating neurotransmitter that accelerates nerve communication. It plays an important role in memory building and learning processes. Principle and behavior. In this section we will try to understand the complex relationship between genes and the environment. Genetics and twin studies. The first thing of geneticity, which is a way to understand the relationship between genetics and behavior. Genesis is a statistical measure that explains how much variation in a particular symptom or behavior can be explained through genetics. The nature vs. nutrition debate is an old question of understanding the relationship between genetics and the environment. Nature means our genes and biological structure, while nutrition means environment and our upbringing. This debate helps to understand how our genes and environments together shape our behavior and personality. The twin study is a very important tool to understand this debate. Researchers in twin studies compare similar twins monozygotic and bicouple twins dizygotic. Similar twins are formed from the same fertilized eggs and their genes are similar, while bicouple twins are formed from different fertilized eggs and their genes are similar but non-identical. A well-known case study is the Minnesota twin study, which the doctor had done by Thomas Bouchard. The same and bi-age twins were studied in this study to explain the genetics of intelligence and personality. Researchers saw that the similarity of intelligence and personality traits in similar twins was significantly higher than bicouple twins. This study demonstrated how deep the role of genetics is in intelligence and personality development, but also highlighted that there is an important role in the environment. Scheduling and directing. Talk of sensations and directness. Both of these concepts together define our sensory experience, which plays a very important role in our daily life. In this section we will try to understand the basic principles of sensory processing, the structure and function of visual and auditory systems, and the directing processes and their effects in detail. Understanding the basic principles of sensations and directness helps to better understand our sensory experience. First of all, of the sensory boundaries that define which we can feel at the intensity of the stimulus. The sensory ranges are of two types, absolute range and differential range. The absolute range is the minimum intensity on which we can feel a stimulus. The difference range, or which is also called just noticeable difference (JND), is the minimum difference that should be in two stimuli so you can identify them differently. Sensory adaptation is another important principle in which the sensitivity of sensory receptors is reduced by frequent and prolonged exposure to unchanged stimuli. This means that if you feel the air for a long time in a room, you begin to gently ignore that air. This process helps our brain filter relevant information so that we can focus on critical stimuli. Survey mechanism and behavior. Now we will talk about this one more important topic of biology, endocrine system and behavior. This section will help to understand the role of our hormones and endocrine system that regulate our behavior, emotions, and overall health. Hormones and behavior. Hormones are chemical messengers of the body that are released from the endocrine glands and send signals to various organs and tissues so that they can perform specific functions. The effect of hormones is too large. It regulates growth, metabolism, mood, reproduction, and behavior. The endocrine system includes several texts: pituitary gland, thyroid gland, adrenal gland, and gonad, ovaries, and testes. The pituitary gland is called the master gland as it regulates other endocrine glands. Hormones that are released from the pituitary gland control growth, metabolism, and fertility processes. The thyroid gland releases hormones such as thyroxine T4 and triiodothyronine T3, which regulate metabolism. Adrenal glands release hormones that regulate stress response. Hormones such as cortisol and aldosterone are released from adrenal cortex, which manage metabolism and blood pressure. Adrenaline and noradrenaline is released from the adrenal marrow, triggering the girl or run response. Gonad, a tester in men and ovaries in women, releases fertility hormones. Hormones such as testosterone, estrogen, and progesterone play an important role in developing secondary sexual characteristics, reproductive processes, and mood regulation. Testosterone enhances aggressiveness and competitive behavior, while estrogen and progesterone contribute to mood changes and emotional regulation. Developmental psychology. Lifetime growth. The development of life is an area that tries to understand all the stages of death from the birth of human beings. This process is very dynamic and complex, which includes a variety of changes. In this section, we will try to understand in detail the stages of prenatal development, Shishwavana and childhood, adolescence, adulthood, and old age. A new life during the prenatal development passes through various stages before coming into the world. This development is divided into three main stages: germinal, embryonic, and fetus. The normal stage begins immediately after conception, in which the fertilized egg or couplings are transplanted into the uterus. This phase lasts about 2 weeks. The embryogenesis ranges from the 2nd to the 8th week, with the development of major organs and systems. The fetus phase moves from the 9th week to birth. This stage consists of the development and finishing of the fetus and its organs mature. Teratogens are environmental factors that can inhibit prenatal development. These include drugs, alcohol, tobacco, radiation, and some infections. Contacting teratogen can cause a very deep impact on the physiological and cognitive development of the fetus. For example, excessive intake of alcohol can lead to fetal alcohol spectrum disorders fast, including a lack of development, facial abnormalities, and cognitive impairment. The development of motor skills in the Shishwavis plays a very important role. Infant reversible activities in the first stage, such as crying and lying. As they grow, their voluntary motor skills develop: rolling, sitting, creeping, and walking. Fine motor skills in childhood, such as writing, drawing, and manipulating objects, improves. These motor skills facilitate development of physical freedom and exploration. Cognitive development. According to the gene Pias, children in the Shishwavis enter the sensory gamey stage, then in the preprocessive and tangible executive stages, which include language development, symbolic thinking, and logical logic. The Azab status study of Mary Ainsworth is a good case study that explores the methods of baby attachment. In this study, babies were seen through short-term isolation and reunion to explain the behavior of their attachment. Ainsworth identified 3 main attachment styles: safe, unsafe perhaps, and unsafe duty. These attachment styles affect relationships and emotional regulation in later life. Adolescence is a transitional phase that prepares to enter adulthood from childhood. This period is known for identity construction, the influence of peers, and risk-taking behaviors. According to the principle of psychosocial development of Erik Erikson, There is a phase of identity vs role illusion in adolescence. At this stage, individuals attempt to understand themselves and establish their identity. Positive solutions develop a strong sense of themselves, while delusions and uncertainty in negative solutions can influence relationships and career options in later life. The influence of peers in adolescence is very important. The influence of friends and social groups is on behavior, which can sometimes stimulate risk-consuming behaviors, such as the use of substances, careless driving, or unsafe sexual behavior. These behaviors come with long-term results that affect health and well-being. A case study shows that the prefrontal cortex in adolescence, which is liable for decision-making and impulse control, is not yet fully matured. This incomplete development promotes impulsive behaviors. Cognitive development. Cognitive development is an area that tries to understand, remember, and understand the capabilities of problem solving. In this section, we will find some important principles, such as the principle of Piaget, the sociocultural principle of Vygotsky, the information processing principle, and the synthetic theory of mind. The principle of cognitive development of Jean Piaget is a fairly impressive principle used in understanding hair growth. Piaget suggested that children actively interact with their environment and learn from their experiences. He divided cognitive development into 4 main stages: sensory gaming phase 2 years from birth, pre-processive phase 2 to 7 years, tangible executive phase 7 to 11 years, and formal executive phase 12 years and above. In the sensory gamok phase, children explore the world using their senses and motor capabilities. An important milestone of this phase is object durability, which means that children understand that the objects are still present when they are okay with their eyes. At the pre-executive stage, children develop symbolic thinking. They present objects and events through symbols, such as using language. However, children in this stage are now away from logical logic and are prone to autism thinking. In the tangible executive phase, children develop logical thinking, but only apply tangible objects and events. Children develop cognitive skills such as classification and serialization. At the formal executive stage, adolescents develop abstract thinking and hypothetical logic. This stage facilitates critical thinking, problem solving, and scientific logic. Social and emotional development. The field of social and emotional development is an essential part of human development, which helps to understand the interpersonal relationships of the individual, emotional regulation, and moral logic. In this section, we will try to understand the attachment principle, emotional regulation, ethical development, and their long-term impact in detail. The attachment theory was developed by John Bowlby, who says that bonding with our caregivers in childhood deeply affect our future relationships and emotional well-being. Under this principle, attachment styles are divided into 4 main categories: safe, hostile, volitional, and disorganized. Caregivers and individuals with safe attachment are consistent and responsive, thereby developing trust and emotional safety in the child. These individuals are able to build a healthy relationship. The person in the hostile attachments live emotionally away. The duality attachment leads to high anxiety and uncertainty in individuals. Disorganized attachment leads to confusion and fear in individuals. Henry Harlow studied rhesus monkeys in his famous experiments, in which he saw the attachment behavior of monkeys. Harlow provided 2 surrogate mothers to the monkeys, a wired mother who provided food, and a woman with a cloth that gave physical comfort. The results saw that monkeys were more attracted to the mother dressed, even if the mother with a wire was providing them more food. This study demonstrates how important role the physical comfort and emotional support attachment play in construction, not only food supplies. Emotional regulation means understanding and managing their emotions so that they are creatively expressed. This capacity helps individuals cope with stressful situations and increases overall mental well-being. Self-regulating skills develop in childhood when children learn to control their emotions and express them appropriately. Effective self-regulating enables a person to make better decisions, maintain problem-solving, and interpersonal relationships. Adherence nutrition styles have a significant impact on emotional regulation. The authoritarian cradle nutrition style, which provides warmth and structure, helps to develop strong self-regulation skills in children. The authoritarian and exemplary cradle nutrition style leads to either excessive control or lack of limitations, which can impair self-regulation. Walter Mischel did marshmallow test in which children were given a marshmallow and said they will find 2 marshmallows if they wait for a while. This study was designed to assess children's explored satisfaction. Long-term follow-up studies showed that children who waited witnessed improved academic performance, social capacity, and overall life success. This case study shows us how deep the initial self-regulating skills have a long-term impact on the results. Module 4 Cognitive Psychology Memory. Memory is a cognitive process that helps us store, maintain, and regain our past experiences. It plays a very important role in our daily life, whether we are learning a new skill, remembering old memories, or making your decisions. In this section, we will try to understand the various models, procedures, types, and disorders of memory in detail. Several theoretical models have been proposed to understand memory. These models help us find out how information is encoded, stored, and retrieved. There are two key models, multi-store models of Atkinson and Schifrin, and the working memory model of Badel and Hitch. Atkinson and Schifrin proposed a multi-store model in 1968, which divides memory into three separate stores: sensory memory, short-term memory (STM), and long-term memory (LTM). The sensory information in sensory memory varies from a few milliseconds to seconds. If this information is transferred to short-term memory through attention, it is of limited capacity, which can store up to about 7 plus or minus 2 items. If the information is reproduced in the STM and is transferred to a long-term memory, it is of almost unlimited capacity and can persist for a long period. Badel and Hitch proposed a working memory model in 1974, addressing the boundaries of the multi-store model. Memory in the working memory model is seen as a dynamic system that has multiple components. This model mainly highlights two subsystems, metallic loop and visual local sketchpad. The metallic loop processes oral and auditory information, while the visual local sketchpad handles the visual and spatial information. In addition, there is a central executive system that controls attention and coordinates information. Later, Badel added episodic buffer, which integrates the information of various memories and connects with long-term memory. Working memory model better explained cognitive flexibility and multifunction capabilities, which were absent in multi-store models. Talk to the types of memory. So memory can be classified into different types, depending on the nature of information and the method of processing. There are two primary categories: clear conscious and built-in unconscious memory. Clear memory includes consciously accessible information, with two subtypes, episodic and semantic memory. Epic memory stores personal experiences and specific events, such as visiting a party or holiday memories. The term memory stores general knowledge and facts, such as Paris is the capital of France. The information in the built-in procedural memory is unconsciously stored, without conscious awareness. Processive memory stores skills and habits, such as cycling or typing. This memory system facilitates automatic and intuitive actions. Learning Learning is a fundamental cognitive process that helps individuals earn new behaviors, skills, and knowledge. This process develops through experience, practice, and observation, which plays a very important role in our daily life. In this section, we will try to explore various theories of learning, such as classical contractions, syllabus contractions, and inductive learning. First, start with classical contraction. Classical contraction is a learning process in which a conditional response is developed by combining a neutral stimulus with a conditional stimulus. The process was first identified by the experiments of Ivan Pavlov, who observed reactions like saliva in dogs. Initially, the dog dipping the saliva without any external stimuli when they were given food. It was a conditional response. Pavlov saw that when he repeatedly added the sound of the bell with food, the dog eventually began to brew only by listening to the bells, without food. It became a conditional response, and the bells became a conditional stimulus. Operant conditioning is a learning process in which behaviors are shaped through results. The procedure was developed by B.F. Skinner, one of the big celebrities of behavioralism. The desired behaviors are enhanced or subtracted by using reinforcement and penalties in operant conditioning. B.F. Skinner used the Skinner box to study the operant conditioning. Skinner box was a controlled environment in which mice or pigeons were trained to perform specific tasks. Skinner saw that if the rat pressed the lever and then he received the food prize, the rat regularly pressed the lever. It was an example of positive reinforcement, thereby increasing behavior. Similarly, if the dove was given a blow of electricity when giving an incorrect response, the doves began to avoid the behavior that was an example of punishment. Reinforcement schedules are patterns by which reinforcement is applied. These schedules affect the frequency and stability of behavior. Some common reinforcements are fixed ratio schedule, variable ratio schedule, fixed interval schedule, and variable interval schedule. Learning inductive is a process in which individuals learn to see the behavior of others. This learning process is a basic component of Albert Bandura's social learning theory. Inductive learning involves cognitive processes like meditation, wear, reproductive, and motivation. Albert Bandura proposed the principle of social learning, which says learning is mainly through observation and simulation, without any direct reinforcement. Bandura said that cognitive processes such as meditation and memory play a very important role in preservative learning. He also suggested that individuals mimic the behaviors of their ideals if they think these behaviors can bring positive results. The Bobo doll experiment of Albert Bandura is a distinguished case study that illustrates the principles of inductive learning. In this experiment, children were given an adult to watch with a Bobo doll aggressively or non-invasive treat. Later, children were given the opportunity to interact with the Bobo doll. The results saw that children who saw aggressive behavior also began to show similar aggressive behavior, while children who saw non-invasive behavior began to interact in a less non-invasive way. This study demonstrates how inductive learning can shape the behavior of individuals without any direct reinforcement. Source and wisdom. Thinking and intelligence are two very important aspects of cognitive psychology, which define the problem-solving capabilities of individuals, logic processes, and overall cognitive functioning. In this section, we will try to understand the problem-solving strategies, various principles of intelligence, methods of measuring intelligence, and components of emotional intelligence. Problem solving is a cognitive process in which individuals develop and implement strategies to achieve specific goals. This process is based on critical thinking, creativity, and logical logic. To understand the problem-solving strategies, we will understand concepts like algorithms, heuristics, and trial and error. Algorithms are systematic and step-by-step procedures designed to solve specific problems. This strategy is very reliable as it guarantees that the problem will get a solution, but it can also be time-consuming. Heuristics are simplified rules of the angulus that save time and effort in problem-solving. This strategy is efficient, but it does not always give accurate results. Trial and error is a basic problem-solving strategy in which a person makes several attempts until he gets the right solution. This approach is simple and flexible, but it can also be disabled. The principle of intelligence. Charles Spearman divided the intellect into two components, general intelligence G-factor and specific qualifications S-factor. According to Spearman, G-factor is a built-in cognitive ability that is normalized in various mental functions. This concept suggests that a strong G-factor helps individuals perform better in many cognitive areas. Howard Gardner proposed theory of spiritual wisdoms, which sees intelligence as a multifaceted creation. According to the Gardner, there are several types of intelligence that reflect the unique strength and abilities of individuals. He initially defined 7 intellects, which were later added: linguistic intelligence, logical dignitive intelligence, spatial intelligence, physical dynamic intelligence, musical intelligence, interpersonal intelligence, and naturalist intelligence. Gardner emphasized that traditional IQ tests measure only a few specific intelligence, while the principle of multiple intelligence provides a comprehensive perspective. Emotional intelligence is a concept that defines the capabilities of understanding, managing, and effectively using the emotions of individuals. This concept made popular by Daniel Roundman, who says emotional intelligence can be more important than traditional cognitive intelligence for professional and personal success. The key components of emotional intelligence are self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. Self-awareness is the ability to understand their emotions and their effects. Self-regulation is the ability to control their emotions and express them in a creative way. Inspiration is the internal drive that inspires individuals to achieve goals. Empathy is the ability to understand and appreciate the feelings of others. Social skills are the capabilities of effective communication, conflict resolution, and relationship building. Language. Language is a powerful cognitive tool that helps individuals express thoughts, communicate with others, and understand their environment. In this section, we will try to understand the various principles of language development, its structure and function, and language acquisition. Language development is a dynamic process that develops from childhood to adolescence. This process is inspired by the interaction of biological, cognitive, and social factors. Different stages of language development include buzzing, one-word phase, and two-word phase. In the phase 0-6 months, babies generate sounds that are similar to speech sounds. In one-word phase 12-18 months, children use a word that expresses their needs or desires. In the two-word phase 18-24 months, children begin to make simple sentences. There is also a sensitive period for language acquisition, which are the segments of time when the brain is most receptive to learning language. The language experience in this period is very important, as if the language input is exempted, the difficulty in flow and efficiency can come. Ginny is a very sad case study which highlights the sensitive periods of language acquisition. Ginny was a girl who suffered severe social isolation and abuse, causing severe damage to her language development. Module 5, Social Psychology *** Social Perception. Social cognition is an area that tries to understand the thoughts, perceptions, and interpretations of individuals which influence their social interaction. This process plays a considerable role in our decisions, decision-making, and relationship building. In this section, we will try to understand allegation theory, stereotypes, biases, discrimination, and their effects. The implantation principle is a cognitive framework used to convince the behavior of individuals. This principle tries to understand what causes people consider behind the actions of others, whether they are due to internal qualities or due to external circumstances. Internal implantation occurs when people explain one's behavior due to his personality, intentions, or abilities. External implantation occurs when people explain one's behavior due to environmental, social pressures, or external circumstances. Original implantation error is a common cognitive bias in which people often explain the behavior of others due to internal factors, while reducing external factors' views and persuasion. Approaches and values are important elements of social psychology, which shape the opinions, beliefs, and behaviors of individuals. These concepts play a significant role in marketing, politics, education, and personal relationships. In this section, we will try to understand the components of the approach, mechanisms of outlook change, persuasion techniques, and their practical applications. Approach is an appraisal response that the individual keeps about an object, person, situation, or event. It is composed of three main components: cognitive, affective, and behavioral components. Cognitive components include trust and thoughts associated with attitudes. The affective component includes feelings and emotions that are associated with an object or condition. The behavioral component includes actions and behaviors that individuals do based on their attitudes. Approach changes are a complex process which is influenced by various psychological mechanisms. Cognitive incompatibility is a psychological theory developed by Leon Festinger. According to this principle, cognitive incompatibility occurs when there is incompatibility in the beliefs, attitudes, or behaviors of individuals, which cause psychological discomfort. This trouble inspires individuals to align their beliefs or behaviors. Group mobility. Group mobility is an area that tries to understand the interactions, behaviors, and processes occurring inside groups. It is necessary to understand because group mobility has different effects on the behavior and decisions of individuals in a collective environment. In this section, we will try to understand roles and norms, group decision-making, and leadership styles. Roles and norms are the fundamental components of group mobility, which shape the behaviors of individuals in the group. These elements organize the functioning of the group and help maintain collective harmony. Social roles are the necessary behaviors and responsibilities that a person has to adopt inside the group. Each role has a specific set of expectations, followed by group members. Agreement is a process in which individuals align their behaviors and beliefs with the norms and expectations of the group. This is an important aspect of social impact, which forces individuals to act according to the approved standards of the group. Stanford Gel experiment is a well-known and controversial study that highlights group roles and conformity. In 1971 by Philip Zimbardo, the college students were randomly divided into the roles of guard and caddy. This experiment saw how the prescribed roles dramatically changed the behaviors of individuals. Guards adopted abusive behavior, while prisoners showed humble and stressful behavior. Transparent relations. The interpersonal relationship is an area of social psychology that tries to understand the interactions, relationships, and bonds that occur between individuals. These relationships can occur in personal, professional, and social contexts, affecting our emotional well-being and overall life satisfaction. In this section, we will try to understand effective communication skills and factors of attraction, principles of love, and relationships. Factors of attraction define why people prefer or attract each other. These factors are classified into several dimensions, such as proximity, equality, and physical attraction. These aspects play a great role in developing early interest and relationship in our social interactions. Robert Sternberg proposed the triangular principle of love, which divides love into three interconnected components: intimacy, passion, and commitment. These components are located on the tops of a triangle, thereby defining a variety of love ties. Intimacy represents emotional proximity, engagement, and belonging. Passion defines physical attraction, sexual desire, and intense emotions. Commitment represents the decision to maintain long-term dedication, loyalty, and relationship. There are fundamental construction segments of effective communication relationships. It facilitates mutual understanding, conflict resolution, and emotional bonding. Understanding communication skills and struggle solution strategies helps strengthen and healthy relationships. Individuals from effective communication can express their thoughts, feelings, and needs clearly and respectfully, which enhances mutual understanding and trust in relationships. Key communication skills include active listening, empathy, assertion, and nonverbal communication. The listener in active listening carefully listens to the words of his partner and tries to understand them without interruption. This technique promotes mutual respect and recognition. Empathy has the ability of individuals to understand and appreciate their partner's feelings and attitudes. This technique enhances emotional bonding and support. Module 6, Personality Psychology. The principle of personality. Personality psychology is an area that tries to understand the unique pattern of the thoughts, emotions, and behaviors of individuals. This area detects several principles and outlines which interpret personality development, structure, and functioning. In this section, we will try to understand the psychoanalytic theory, symptom theory, humanistic theory, and socio-cognitive theory in detail. The psychoanalytic theory explains personality development through unconscious processes and childhood experiences. The biggest sign of this theory is Sigmund Freud, who defined the structure and defense mechanisms of personality. Freud divided the personality into three components: ID, ego, and ultimately. ID is the primitive and spontaneous part of personality. It is unconscious and works on joy principle. Ego reality works on the principle, which tries to fulfill the impulses of the ID in a socially acceptable way. The ultimate realization represents ethical and ethical standards. Freud defined defense mechanisms that individuals use to manage their unconscious struggles and anxiety. There are some major defense mechanisms: suppression, refusal, projection, displacement, and rationalization. Characteristics theory defines the personality as a group of stable and consistent characteristics. This principle suggests that personality traits are permanent and predict consistent behavior in different situations. Gordon Allport defined personality traits, representing the unique behavioral patterns of individuals. According to the Allport, the symptoms can be divided into two categories: key symptoms, central symptoms, and secondary symptoms. Big Five Model Ocean is a widely accepted symptom theory that classifies personality into 5 large dimensions: openness, duties, extrovert, agreeability, and disability for experience. Openness reflects creativity, curiosity, and open minds. Duties represent organization, reliability, and discipline. Extrovert defines sociality, assertion, and enthusiasm. Agreement reflects empathy, trust, and cooperation. Impressions represent emotional instability, anxiety, and moodiness. The humanistic principle sees the personality from a holistic and development-oriented approach. This principle emphasizes that individuals are naturally inspired to achieve their potential. Abraham Maslow proposed the pyramid of essentials, which divides human motivation into 5 levels: physical needs, safety requirements, love and need for itness, requirements of respect, and finally self-realization. According to Maslow, individuals move towards higher-level requirements only after meeting the lower-level requirements. Self-realization is the highest level, representing fulfillment and development. Carl Rogers highlighted self-reception and unconditioned positive relationship in the humanistic approach. Self-determination defines the perception of individuals about themselves. The unconditional positive relationship represents the acceptance and support of the unconditional. According to Rogers, a person with a rather positive relationship can detect his good self and attain self-realization. Module 7, Inspiration and Spirit. The principle of inspiration. Inspiration and emotion are psychological processes that deeply affect the behaviors, actions, and overall well-being of individuals. Through inspiration, we only set our goals, achieve them, while emotions enrich our experiences and play an important role in decision-making processes. In this session, we will explore the various principles of inspiration, such as biological purpose, the pyramid of the psychological purpose, and the requirements of the Maslow. Biological objectives are the basic requirements that are necessary for survival and reproduction. These objectives are linked directly to our physical functioning, and our existence can be difficult without them. We explore the primary requirements like appetite, thirst, and sex to understand biological objectives. Both appetite and thirst are the primary biological objectives that regulate the internal conditions of our body. Appetite means the need for food, which provides energy to the body, while thirst means the need for water, which maintains the hydration level of the body. It is necessary for survival to meet these requirements, so these objectives are strong and constant. Sexual motivation is also a primary biological purpose that facilitates reproduction. This purpose is important not only for reproduction, but also to promote emotional bonding and intimacy. Psychological objectives are the requirements that relate to high-level goals and personal fulfillment. These objectives are associated with the emotional and cognitive functioning of the individual and affect their social interactions and personal achievements. We explore key objectives like achievement, affiliation, and power to understand psychological objectives. The achievement objective represents the desire of individuals that they successfully achieve their goals and achieve excellence. This objective helps to achieve career success, academic excellence, and personal achievements. People with high achievement motivations are generally target-oriented, enjoying them to face challenges, and they strive to constantly improve their performance. Affiliation purpose represents the desire of individuals that they develop and maintain positive social relationships. This purpose reflects the desire for friendship as well as social acceptance. Strength objective represents the desire of individuals that they gain impact and control. This purpose encourages the roles of leadership, positions of authority, and the processes of decision-making. The pyramid of the requirements of the Maslow is a widely accepted motivational principle. According to Maslow, human needs can be arranged in a level structure, in which higher-level requirements are followed only when the lower-level requirements are met. This category is generally visible in the shape of a pyramid, in which the physiological needs are at the bottom and the needs of self-realization are at the top. The pyramid of the requirements of the Maslow is divided into 5 different levels. Physical requirements are the most basic requirements that are necessary for survival, such as food, water, shelter, and sleep. It is fundamental to prioritize these requirements as it is difficult to survive without them. Safety requirements include physical safety, financial safety, health, and harm protection. Meeting these requirements develops a sense of stability and prerequisiteness in individuals, which enables them to achieve high-level requirements. The requirements of love and belonging include social relations, friendship, intimate relationships, and group affiliation. These requirements provide social support and emotional fulfillment to individuals who play an important role in personal well-being. The requirements of respect include self-esteem, confidence, achievement, and respect from others. Finally, self-realization is the highest level. This requirement is to fully realize the potential of the individual, including personal development, creativity, problem-solving, and self-fulfillment feeling. A sense is a complex concept that deeply affects the thoughts, behaviors, and physiological reactions of individuals. Feelings play a huge role in our daily decisions, relationships, and overall well-being. In this section, we will try to understand the components of emotion, various principles of emotion, cultural aspects of emotional expression, and emotional regulation strategies in detail. It is necessary to identify its different components to understand the feeling. Each component plays a unique role in the functioning of emotions, which integrates the reactions of the individual. Physical stimulus is a fundamental component of emotion, which reflects physiological changes in the body. When we experience an emotional stimulus, the autonomic nervous system in our body becomes active, which leads to increased heart rate, respiration, and hormones such as adrenaline are released. This stimulus reaction is regulated through the root or run mechanism, which is necessary for survival. The expressive behavior is the external display of the emotion. These behaviors can be both verbal and nonverbal. Use words in verbal manifestations, such as I am happy or I am feeling sad. The nonverbal manifestations include facial expressions, body language, gestures, and voice accents. The conscious experience is the subjective aspect of emotion, reflecting the emotions and experiences of individuals. This component comes in the self-inspective part of the emotion, in which the individual mentally processes his emotions, labels them, and tries to understand their meaning. The principle of emotion. Several principles have been proposed for the understanding of the feeling, which interpret the origin, processing, and expression of the emotion. These principles provide different perspectives from each other, which help to broadly understand the multifaceted nature of emotion. In this section, we will explore some large principles, such as James Lange theory, Cannon-Bard theory, and Schechter-Singer theory. James Lange theory, which William James and Carl Lange independently proposed, explains the feeling through cognitive interpretations resulting from physiological reactions. According to this principle, the first physical excitation occurs, for example, increased heart rate. Then this excitation is interpreted as a feeling in the brain, e.g., I am afraid. The Cannon-Bard principle, which was proposed by Walter Cannon and Philip Bard, was contrary to the James Lange theory. According to this principle, physical stimuli and emotional experiences occur together in parallel without any sequential order. When there is an emotional stimulus, the brain simultaneously triggers physiological reactions and consciously experiences the feeling. The two-factor principle of Schechter-Singer, which Stanley Schechter and Jerome Singer proposed in 1962, explains the feeling through the combination of physical stimuli and cognitive interpretation. According to this principle, the feeling consists of two main components: physical stimulation and a cognitive label. Emotional expression is a process in which individuals express their emotions externally so that other people know their emotional state. This expression can be both verbal and non-verbal, and it is deeply influenced by cultural norms and social expectations. It is also necessary to understand the aspects of cultural universality and cultural uniqueness of emotional expression, so as to accurately interpret emotions in various cultural contexts. Cultural universality means that some basic emotions are expressed in a similar way in every culture, which are justified on the evolutionary basis. These emotions, such as happiness, sadness, anger, fear, hatred, and surprise, can be recognized in all cultures. However, cultural uniqueness is that various cultures have variations in how to express emotions which are influenced by specific cultural norms, values, and social contexts. Paul Semin extensively researched facial expressions and basic emotions in the 1970s. He identified 6 basic emotions whose facial expressions were universal. The results found that participants of various cultural backgrounds identified basic emotions such as happiness, sadness, anger, fear, hatred, and surprises in a similar way. Module 8. Health Psychology and Unused Psychology. Health psychology is a special area that tries to understand biological, psychological, and social factors which affect health and disease. This area detects the psychological effects of individuals' health behaviors, stress management, and chronic diseases to develop a holistic approach that enhances overall well-being. In this section, we will try to understand in detail the psychological aspects of biopsychological models, health behaviors, and chronic diseases. Biopsychosocial models are a comprehensive framework focused on integrating biological, psychological, and social factors to understand health and illness. This model was proposed by George Engel, expanding the traditional biomedical model, including psychological and social dimensions. According to the biopsychosocial model, it is necessary to consider their genetic structure, emotional well-being, behavioral patterns, and social environment to understand the health status of a person. Biological factors include genetic predisposition, physiological processes, and body functions, which directly affect health outcomes. Psychological factors include stress levels, coping mechanisms, personality traits, and mental health conditions, which shape the health behaviors and perceptions of individuals. Social factors include cultural norms, socioeconomic conditions, family support, and social networks, which determine health resources and support systems. Model No. Diagnostic Psychology. Understanding mental health. Mental health is a complex aspect that regulates the emotional, psychological, and social well-being of individuals. It plays an important role in different stages of every human life, whether it is childhood, adolescence, adulthood, or old age. Mental health is not only the absence of mental illness, but it defines a positive state of well-being in which the individual realizes his abilities, manages the stresses of normal life, works productively, and maintains a healthy relationship. In this section, we will try to understand the fundamental definitions and concepts of mental health, understanding classification systems such as DSM-5 and ICD-10, and also discuss complex relationships between stigma and mental health. Mental health and mental illness are two different but interconnected concepts which define the psychological functioning of individuals. Mental health is a positive state in which individuals realize their potential, effectively manage stresses, and contribute to their community. It includes aspects such as emotional resilience, self-esteem, and life satisfaction. On the other hand, mental illness is a diagnosed condition which significantly disrupts the thoughts, emotions, and behaviors of individuals. Mental illnesses such as depression, anxiety disorder, schizophrenia, and bipolar disorder worsen daily functioning and negatively affect the quality of life. Standardized classification systems are used to accurately identify mental health disorders. These systems clearly outline the categories, norms, and definitions of mental disorders which help clinicians diagnose consistent and reliable. Two primary classification systems are widely recognized: DSM-5 Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, 5th edition, and ICD-10 International Classification of Disease, 10th edition. DSM-5, published by the American Psychiatric Association (APA), provides a detailed description of mental disorders and diagnostic criteria. Disorders in DSM-5 are divided into specific categories, such as mood disorders, anxiety disorders, psychological disorders, and personality disorders. The clinical norms for each disorder are clearly defined, which guide practitioners to accurately diagnose. DSM-5 is mainly used in the United States and some other countries, and it is widely used in research and clinical practice. ICD-10, developed by the World Health Organization (WHO), is a global classification system that categorizes diseases and health-related conditions. Mental and behavioral disorders in ICD-10 are classified through detailed codes which support international comparativeness and health statistics. ICD-10 is used globally and plays an important role in standardizing mental health services in healthcare systems. Major psychological disorders. Mental disorders disrupt the thoughts, feelings, and behaviors of individuals. These disorders affect their daily functioning, relationships, and overall well-being. In this section, we will try to understand the key psychological disorders, such as anxiety disorders, mood disorders, schizophrenia, and psychological disorders in detail. Anxiety disorder is a group that is characterized by excessive fear and anxiety. These disorders cause distress and loss in the daily life of individuals. In this section, we will try to understand the generalized anxiety disorder (GAD) and panic disorder. GAD has chronic, excessive anxiety to individuals which disrupts their daily activities. This anxiety is usually focused on many areas, such as work, health, and personal relationships. Terror disorders often have unexpected terror attacks. Panic attacks are episodes of sudden intense fears, including physical symptoms such as sharpening of heartbeat, sweating, coughing, shortness in breathing, dizziness, and fear of losing control or dying. These terrors cause fear and anxiety to individuals who force them to adopt behavior. Mood disorders significantly disrupt the emotional state of the individual. These disorders affect their mood and emotional stability, which negatively affect their daily functioning and relationships. In this section, we will try to understand depression and bipolar disorder. Depression is a common mood disorder marked by persistent sadness, loss of interest, fatigue, feelings of uselessness or guilt, difficulty in focusing, and thoughts of suicide. The onset of depression can occur at any age, but it usually develops in adolescence or early adulthood. Bipolar disorder is a serious mood disorder marked by excessive mood swings, including frenzy and depressive episodes. In frenzy episodes, individuals display high energy levels, enthusiasm, impulsive behavior, intense speech, and grand views. Depressive episodes show persistent sadness, low energy, and loss of interest. Schizophrenia and psychological disorders. Schizophrenia is a serious mental disorder that distorts the thoughts, perceptions, and behaviors of individuals. This disorder is characterized by hallucinations, confusion, disorderly thinking, and impaired functioning. The primary symptoms of schizophrenia include hallucinations such as heard sounds, confusion, false beliefs, and disorderly thinking. Secondary symptoms include social isolation, lack of motivation, and cognitive losses such as memory loss and lack of attention. The onset of schizophrenia usually occurs in late adolescence or early adulthood, and it significantly affects the individual and professional life. Medical approach. Psychotherapy is a structured and collaborative process in which trained mental health professionals and customers together address psychological issues. This therapy helps individuals to understand, manage, and change their thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. There are a variety of psychotherapeutic approaches, such as cognitive behavioral therapy (CBT), psychotherapeutic and humanistic therapy, which use each unique approach and techniques. CBT is an evidence-based psychotherapy approach focused on identifying and modifying negative thought patterns and maladjusted behaviors of individuals. According to CBT, thoughts, feelings, and behaviors are associated with each other. This therapy guides customers to challenge their distorted thinking and develop more creative thinking patterns. Techniques include cognitive restructuring, behavioral activation, and exposure therapy, which effectively treat anxiety, depression, PTSD, and other disorders. Biomedical therapy is a scientific and medical approach which treats mental health disorders with biological factors. This therapy covers drugs, electroconvulsive therapy (ECT), and other medical interventions which modify brain chemistry and physiological processes so as to reduce symptoms. Commonly used drugs for the treatment of mental health disorders include antidepressants, antipsychotics, mood stabilizers, and anxiolytics. Hypnotic drugs. Module 10, Contemporary Issues and Future Directions. Positive Psychology. Positive psychology is a branch that focuses on understanding and enhancing the potency, qualities, and positive experiences of individuals. This area complements the negative aspects of traditional psychology, which focuses on mental illness and dysfunction. The main goal of positive psychology is to help individuals maximize their well-being and happiness so that they can live full and meaningful life. In this section, we will explore the basic concepts of well-being and happiness, the PERMA model of Seligman, the classification of affordability and qualities, and the case studies of some real-life. Well-being and happiness are psychological constructions that define the overall life satisfaction of individuals and positive emotional situations. These concepts are multifaceted, which encompasses emotional, psychological, and social dimensions. Well-being means a holistic condition in which the individual achieves the goals of his life, maintains positive relationships, and experiences personal development. Happiness usually reflects short-term positive emotions and satisfaction, which comes from daily experiences and transient joy. Martin Seligman proposed PERMA models to define the framework of positive psychology. PERMA is a concise name that represents 5 essential elements which enhance well-being: positive emotions, engagement, relationships, meaning, and achievement. Positive emotions, such as happiness, gratitude, hope, and satisfaction, enrich the daily experiences of the individual. The connection is to be in the event of flow, where the individual is completely submerged in his actions. Meaningful relationships and supportive relationships strengthen the emotional support system of the individual, feeling objective and direction in life, which inspires and completes individuals. Obtaining individual goals and experiencing success, which enhances self-esteem and confidence. Cultural psychology. Cultural psychology is a branch that tries to understand how culture shapes the thoughts, emotions, and behaviors of individuals. This area detects psychological events in cultural contexts, allowing the unique psychological processes of different populations to be understood. In this section, we will try to understand the challenges of cultural influences, individualism vs. mobility of collectiveness, intercultural studies on self-determination, integration and identity challenges, and case studies of real life. Culture is a shared system that defines values, beliefs, norms, and practices, deeply affecting the views, emotions, and behaviors of a group members. Cultural background deeply affects the perceptions, cognizance, emotions, and social contacts of individuals, which define their overall psychological functioning. There are cultural dimensions that define the emphasis of societies. In individual cultures, individual achievements and autonomy are emphasized, while in collective cultures, group harmony and mutual dependence are valued. These dimensions affect the self-determination, motivation, and social behaviors of individuals. Technology and psychology. The interaction between technology and psychology is quite dynamic in today's modern age. Technology has not only changed our daily lives, but also given new dimensions to mental health and psychological practices. In this section, we will try to understand the impact of technology, especially the effects of social media, progress in virtual reality therapy, and explore the applications of artificial intelligence. The biggest impact of social media platforms falls on self-esteem. People compare the highlight reels of their lives with others, which lead to unrealistic expectations and self-doubt. Comparing with others of their lifestyle, success, and form color, making the individual feel less stigma, decreases self-esteem. The interaction on social media can often be superficial, making it difficult to develop deep emotional connections. Online communication is being preferred in place of face-to-face interaction, which can lead to loneliness and social isolation. These factors can enhance mental health issues like anxiety and depression. Virtual reality (VR) therapy is an emerging technique, providing innovative approaches in mental health treatment. Using VR, physicians help individuals to conduct exposure therapy and behavioral interventions in controlled setting. Exposure therapy is effective in the treatment of conditions such as anxiety disorders, phobia, PTSD, and OCD. In traditional exposure therapy, individuals are gradually exposed to stimuli causing fear, so as to manage their fear response. VR therapy improves this process as it creates realistic, yet safe, virtual environments. For example, patients with PTSD can be placed in a virtual simulation of war zones or traumatic events, which helps them work on their reactions in a controlled and safe environment. This improves their coping mechanisms and increases confidence to face real-life triggers. Module 11. Practical applications and skills creation **** implementing psychological principles into daily life. Psychological principles are not limited only to theory or research. These principles can be applied practically in our daily life, so that we can enhance our communication skills, make better decisions, and improve overall well-being. In this section, we will explore two major areas: enhance communication skills and improve decision-making. Effective communication skills strengthen individual and professional relationships. We can make our interaction meaningful and impressive by skill like active listening and empathy. These skills reduce misunderstandings, build trust, and enhance collaborative environments. Active listening is a process in which the listener tries to understand the whole attention of the speaker and provides feedback. It is different from passive listening, since oral and nonverbal signals are carefully observed in active listening. Empathy is a potential in which we try to understand the emotions and attitudes of others. It enhances emotional engagement and strengthens supportive relationships. Personal development strategies. Personal development strategies help individuals achieve growth and improvement in their personal and professional life. These strategies focus on self-awareness, goal determination, and flexibility building, helping individuals face challenges and maximize their potential. The goal determination is a structured process in which the individual defines his short-term and long-term objectives and plans the functional steps to achieve them. Effective goal determination increases clarity, motivation, and focus, which is essential for personal development and success. In this section, we will try to understand the framework of SMART goals and also understand practical applications through the individual goal determining workshop. The SMART target is an effective goal determining framework which makes the goals specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. This framework helps individuals set clear and viable objectives which play a huge role in tracking their progress and achieving success. Flexibility construction. Flexibility is a psychological symptom that helps individuals cope with adverse stress and challenges. Flexible individuals learn from their negative experiences and see them as an opportunity for their development. It is necessary to adopt effective combat strategies to create resilience. These strategies help individuals manage stress, enhance emotional regulation, and effectively cope with challenges. The types of combat strategies include problem-focused combat, emotion-focused combat, and hostile combat. The problem-focused combat focuses on directly addressing problems, such as using problem-solving techniques, developing time management and organizational skills, and identifying and using resources. A sense-focused combat focuses on managing emotions, such as emotional regulation techniques, for example, deep breathing and attention, positive self-sharpening, and looking for reliable relationships and social support. Effective combat strategies are mindfulness and meditation, physical activity, social support, and cognitive restructuring. Mental health first aid. Mental health first aid is an active approach that provides training to individuals to identify mental health issues and provide initial assistance. These skills enable timely intervention in severe situations, which have a positive effect in the recovery process of individuals. Identifying mental health issues is the first step for effective intervention. Timely assistance and treatment can be provided from early detection, which accelerates recovery and prevents complications. Common symptoms of mental health issues include emotional symptoms and sadness or low mood, irritability or anger, excessive anxiety, mood changes, cognitive symptoms, difficulty or memory abilities and focusing, negative thinking patterns, indecision or avoided and including thoughts or flashbacks, behavioral symptoms of isolation or solitude, changes in eating or sleeping habits, lack of performance in work or education, and great use of substances, for example, alcohol or drugs, and physical symptoms, no fatigue or low energy, uneasy pain, headache or stomach problems, weight or appetite changes. Enhance emotional intelligence. Self-awareness. Empathy and social skills are the main components of emotional intelligence. Self-awareness is the ability to understand and recognize your emotions. This is the first and very important component of emotional intelligence. This skill helps individuals recognize their strengths, weaknesses, emotions, and their effects. Self-awareness can better manage their actions and decisions, which is necessary for personal development and professional development. To recognize your feelings, labeling emotions. Every emotion must have a specific name, such as happiness, sadness, anger, fear, anxiety, despair. This helps individuals clearly understand their emotions. Observing physical sensations. Emotions are often associated with physical sensations, such as sharpening of heartbeat, sweating, lumps in the throat, or feeling tired. Identifying these sensations helps identify emotions. Understanding triggers. There are a few reasons triggers behind every feeling, such as a particular situation, person, or memories. Understanding the trigger helps individuals manage their emotions better. Mindfulness practice. Mindfulness carefully raises awareness at the present moment, which helps to recognize emotions. Empathy and social skills are two other important components of emotional intelligence. Empathy can make a person understand the feelings and attitudes of others, while strong social skills develop effective communication and healthy relationships. These skills are essential for individual and professional success. Creating strong relationships depends on using empathy and social skills effectively. These relationships create a support system which enhances emotional well-being. Techniques of enhancing empathy and social skills include taking perspectives, trying to see and understand the situation from the perspective of others, nonverbal communication, expressing emotions with the language of the body, facial expressions, and eyes, emotional regulation, managing their emotions so that they do not negatively affect the conversation, and active listening to fully listen and reflect the things of the person. Final summary. In this entire journey, we deeply understood the different aspects of psychology. We go that psychology is not only a study of behavior and mental processes, but it is a scientific approach that helps us to better understand ourselves, others, and society. We saw how our brain and nervous system control our thoughts, emotions, and actions, how our beginners' experience and attachments shape our development, and how we learn, remember, and think. We also understood the complexities of social impacts, group mobility, and interpersonal relationships. Methods of dealing with personality, motivation, emotion, and stress help us understand how we act as a unique person and how we can enhance our well-being. We also saw how the principles of psychology are applied in education, health, industry, law, and clinical settings to address the problems of individuals and society. Finally, we explored contemporary issues and possible directions of psychology through positive psychology, cultural influences, influences of technology, and future trends. Practical skills such as effective communication, empathy, goal determination, flexibility, and mental health first aid will help us apply these principles in our daily life. This psychology journey does not end here. This is a continuous running process. We hope this journey has given you a new vision and you will be able to live a more meaningful and complete life using these principles of psychology in your life.